More than that, his magic was nuts. It wasn't just at the level of being amazing. I have an acquaintance in the Magic Guild who's one of the top rankers there, but that examinee's flame arrow spell was at least dozens of times better than his. In the end, what they wrote on their application forms were true. No. At least, the level of their magic skill is probably a lot more than what's written there. It's honestly to the point where I think no other people could probably best them when it comes to magic. That's certainly true. So what shall we do? What would be their rank assessment results? Former B rankers like us were trounced in a one-sided manner after all. It's impossible to ignore that result. So we're all agreed, right? Both of them will be C rank. No objection. Cleria and I waited inside the guild building for about 20 minutes, until the receptionist finally returned. Alan-san and Ria-san have both been officially registered as C-rank adventurers. I'll hand over your guild identifications, so please follow me to the counter. These are your guild identifications. Please keep them with you at all times. If you lose them, there will be a penalty of 1 large silver coin in order to process a reissue, so be very careful not to lose them. It was a copper plate, with a width of 5 centimeters and length of 10 centimeters. It had the seal of the Adventurers Guild, registration number, my name, the registration date and my rank, which was C, engraved on it. We've now finished your registration. Do you have any other questions? It would be fine for you not to take any quests for a maximum of 7 months when you're AC rank, right? A. Well, that is the case, but your rank will fall steadily as a result. I'm not really concerned with my rank, so that's all right. You don't mind, you say. However, the guild would very much prefer it if skilled adventurers like you could complete quests at a steady rate, Alan-san. Understood. Thank you very much. Eh? Let's go back, Ria, Willie. I locked eyes with a female mercenary as we went out of the guild building. She had a pair of sharp eyes. When that female mercenary's gaze turned towards Cleria, an astonished expression appeared on her face. Your high dash. Cleria-sama. Cleria stood dazed for a few moments, but her expression turned to one of surprise soon afterward. If it isn't Elna. Why are you in a place like this? I'm relieved to see you looking well, Cleria-sama. Hey, Ria. This isn't the time or the place for this. We're standing out too much. They were really getting worked up, so I tapped Cleria's shoulder to remind her. The adventurers were already crowding around us to see what was going on. You knave. Who are you? Do not address her so casually. The female mercenary angrily turned towards me and was about to draw her sword. At ease, Elna. Let us move to a different area. Let's head to the Catol equipment shop for the meantime. I'll have to return my armor, and Cleria has to leave hers there as well. I don't know who this Elna lady exactly is, but judging from that earlier conversation, I have a rough idea already. She didn't seem to be just a casual acquaintance, and she seemed to know Cleria well. She might have some news that she was reluctant to share with me around as well. It would be better to move to a place where the two of them can talk without reserve. The Catol equipment shop was nearby, so we soon reached it while maintaining an awkward silence. We entered the shop and headed for the counter. Zaluke greeted us warmly. Yo, you guys sure were fast. So how did the tests go? We both became C rank. That's impressive. As expected of Master's saviors. I guess. Can you help with taking this armor off? I'm still not familiar with it. Miss Elna, right? How about you help Rhea with hers over there? I understand. Hey, Zaluke. Will my armor be hard to put on and take off like this one? No, don't compare this armor with the one you purchased. That one's a top-grade leather armor after all. It'll be easier to handle. You can easily put it on and take it off by yourself. I see. Glad to hear it. Rhea, what are your plans after this? I'm gonna go back to Teru-san's mansion. But you and her have things you need to talk about, right? You can go somewhere else after this. I'll give you some money if you need it. I'll go back with you as well. You will? Well, we should be able to borrow a private room later anyway. That reminds me. I'll have to make some sweets later. And it's not like we can continue staying over at Teru-san's mansion for tonight. We'll need to look for a suitable inn soon. Looks like it'll be a busy day. Well then, I'll leave our armors to you, Zaluke. We'll come back for them after 3 days. Gotcha. Leave them to me. We walked back to Teru-san's mansion. Cleria and Elna walked a little further back from Willie and I. They were talking softly among themselves. It's possible for me to eavesdrop on their conversation if I enhance my hearing, but I don't want to do something that tasteless. We soon arrived back at Teru-san's mansion. Willie, sorry to impose this on you, but could you see if Jonas-san is free and call him over? Understood. It didn't take long for Jonas-san to come. I'm sorry for calling you over like this. Rhea met an acquaintance back at the Adventurers Guild. It seems they have some important things to talk about, so, if it isn't any trouble, could you lend us a private room for a while? But of course. The guest of our guest is our guest as well. I'll prepare some tea. I'm sorry to bother you with this. Now then, Rhea and Elna, you two can take your time talking inside the room. Understood. Alan. Thank you. Don't worry about it. Alan-san, did you perhaps come to the Adventurers Guild earlier in order to register? Yes. I didn't manage to tell you before we went out of the mansion though. That's about it. Rhea and I just finished our registration. What rank did you manage to attain, by the way? We both became C-rank adventurers. Who? It's impressive that the two of you managed to attain C rank right away. Amazing. No, it wasn't all that great. More importantly, thank you for introducing us to a good shop. We've managed to get some quality goods and services as a result. No, we're glad for your patronage as well. I do have something I want to consult with you, Alan-san. That is if you don't mind. What is it? It's about the rest of the goods Alan-san and Master left in the bandit hideout yesterday. We're a bit troubled because no one else apart from Alan-san and Master know the way to the hideout. I was thinking of having Alan-san retrieve them for us in the form of a designated guild quest. Would that be all right with you? Yeah, that'll be fine. I'll take the quest. But there's quite a lot of goods, so I'll need to find a way to transport them back. No, we will handle the retrieval work. All you have to do is escort us and guide us to the location of the hideout. I see. There's no problem then. I accept the quest. Well then, I will be sending a formal request to the guild tomorrow, so we will be in your care. I understand. So, about that matter regarding sweets. I'd actually like to start making preparations for that now if that's okay with you. Of course. Please go ahead. I'll guide you to the kitchen. I'm really curious about the kinds of ingredients they have available. I'm sure they at least have some sugar since they are familiar with sweets. But what am I gonna do if they turned out just having sugar and wheat flour? I won't be able to make much from those. I did blurt out that cooking is my hobby, so I don't want to make something weird if I can help it. Man, I really dropped the ball yesterday, didn't I? The facilities of the kitchen I was guided to were quite extensive. They were also well ordered. This is the kitchen Milady and Tarasama often use for cooking. It seems like this mansion actually has several kitchens. It's certainly an enviable environment. The ingredients and cookware present here are the same as what we have in the main kitchen. It's quite a splendid kitchen. Well then, what should I make? What are the staple sweets in this country? It would be dull if I made something already commonly available, so could I trouble you to teach me? Certainly. This is the staple sweet we have in this country. There are different flavors available, but they are essentially the same product. Jonas-san handed me a basket filled with sweets. They appear to be similar to cookies. Can I taste one? Of course. Please go ahead. I tried one, and it really was a cookie. It was mildly sweet, crunchy, and delicious. This is quite tasty. But, are there no other sweets available apart from these? Yes. These are the only sweets we have. They are made from wheat flour and are baked. So they only have cookies for sweets, huh? But there's a lot more stuff we can make. I see. Well then, I'll need to check the available ingredients next. I checked out an ingredient jar that resembled porcelain first. Is this sugar? Yep, it's sugar all right. It wasn't white, but was light brown in color. It tasted fine. It wasn't as sweet as the sugar I'm used to, but it would do just fine. There were also some salt, honey, a number of different herbs and wheat flour. So what should I make? There are also some chilled ingredients available. Jonas-san opened up a large shelf. There were eggs and other ingredients, either bound by cloth or put into porcelain containers inside. Waves of cold air were wafting out of the shelf. Oh. This is a magic tool used for refrigerating ingredients. Foodstuffs that go bad quicker are put inside this box in order to prolong their shelf life. This is great. To think you had something like this as well. The shelf contained things like meat, dried fish, eggs, butter, milk, cheese, and various other ingredients. Great. Since there are eggs, butter and milk, I can easily make a wider variety of sweets. I do get the desire to make cookies using these ingredients. But I'm going to whip up something different. I'll make something simple, so I won't accidentally botch up and ruin it. Let's go with a standard Earth-style steamed egg pudding. I personally like baked pudding more, but I'm not familiar with using the type of oven they have in this kitchen. Since that's the case, it would be better not to force it. I took out all the ingredients I need. Milk, eggs, and sugar. Just these three. Next would be a suitable mold. I looked around the kitchen and spotted a shelf containing various tableware. It also had a lot of small containers that looked perfect as pudding molds. Hey, there's also a strainer here. It was a bit rough, but it'll do. I also found a large lidded pot that I can use for steaming. I looked for something I can use to hold the containers above the water while steaming and found a smaller lid from another pot. It was just the right size as well. I successfully got myself an improvised steamer set. How many should I make? Let's see. How about 5 for your group plus 5 more, Alan-san? Jonas-san also included Elna's share as well. Understood. I'll make some extra portions, just to be sure. I ran over the recipe in my head while considering the number of servings. Looks like we're good. The ingredients we have here would suffice. We also had enough containers. By the way, how much does this ingredient cost? Sugar, is it? A pot of this size would cost about 5 silvers. That's unexpectedly cheap. Or is it? 5 silvers are enough for a 2-night stay at an average inn after all. I checked the cookware before I started making the puddings. There were 2 platforms that resembled stoves in the kitchen. Are these? These are magic tools that emit flames. This is how you use them. Jonas-san pulled down the lever on the side of one of the stoves. When he did so, the stove immediately spouted flames. It seems you can use the lever to adjust the intensity of the flames. This is also quite amazing. I actually want one myself. I could introduce you to one of our partner stores that have them later if you wish. Man. They really sell a large variety of merchandise, don't they? I'll start with making the caramel sauce. I put an amount of sugar corresponding to the recipe in my head inside a small saucepan, added some water, and heated the mixture over low flames. I left the mixture to simmer for a few minutes until the color turned light brown. I poured some more water bit by bit to adjust the thickness of the sauce. I then poured the finished mixture from the saucepan into another container to let it cool down. Once the mixture had cooled down properly, I poured portions of the finished caramel sauce inside the containers I was going to use as molds for the puddings. I decided to make 15 servings this time. I'll make the pudding mixture next. I put an appropriate amount of sugar and milk inside a large pot and heated the mixture using the magic stove. I then added some eggs to the mixture after heating it for a while. I also cracked a number of eggs over a porcelain bowl and started beating them. I added some salt to adjust the flavor as well. Let's prepare the steamer as well. I poured water inside the large pot I found earlier, placed the small pot lid several centimeters above the water line, placed the large pot on top of the stove, and turned the flames on. The milk has been sufficiently heated at this point. I stirred the milk mixture to make sure the sugar has properly dissolved. Afterward, I added in the egg wash into the mix. I then had Jonas-san help with pouring the heated milk and egg mixture over the strainer. We repeated the straining process 2 times just to be sure. We poured the completed pudding mixture inside the molds slathered with caramel sauce. We managed to fill all 15 containers with the mixture. It looks like I nailed the mixture amount. After these are steamed inside the pot, the puddings would finally be finished. The improvised steamer is good to go as well. It seems it wasn't possible to fit all 15 molds inside the pot, so we steamed them in 2 batches. We put in half of the containers inside the pot and steamed them over low flames. It should be enough to steam them for 10 minutes or so. After 10 minutes, we removed the containers from the pot. They were quite hot, so we had to be careful in taking them out. I poured some more water inside the improvised steamer, and once the water came to a boil, we steamed the second batch as well. Let's give the pudding a taste test. I put 1 container inside a pot half filled with chilled water in order to cool it down. I'll put the rest inside the refrigerating magic tool later once they've cooled down enough. We took out the second batch from the steamer after 10 minutes. We let them cool down as well. We're finally done. We just need to put these inside the refrigerating magic tool to chill them. So they are done. It was quite a remarkable cooking method, I must say. I haven't heard or seen such a method until today. These sweets are called puddings. Do you want to give it a taste, Jonas-san? I would love to. I have no idea what the flavor would taste like at all, so it's quite exciting. I took out the pudding mold from the chilled water. You'll need to take out the pudding from the container like so. I used my fingers to scrape part of the pudding mixture that was sticking on the rim of the mold. Take out a plate, flip the container over and lightly shake it on top of the plate until the pudding comes out. There we go. Oh. So this is pudding. It does look great, at least. The dark brown caramel sauce dripped down the cream-colored pudding. I cut the pudding into 2 portions and put 1/2 on another plate. I offered 1/2 to Jonas-san for him to taste. Delicious. It wasn't chilled enough yet, but the creamy taste of the pudding matched well with the bittersweet flavor of the caramel sauce. The recipe actually includes an ingredient from Earth called vanilla, but things from Earth are considered luxury goods and are pretty hard to acquire. Once it's chilled to a certain degree, I bet it'll turn even tastier. I turned around to check with Jonas-san, only to find him petrified on the spot with bulging eyes. Alan-san, what exactly is this? I have yet to taste sweets as delicious as this. How wonderful. Simply magnificent. Even if you ask me that, I can only say that it's pudding, you know. But I'm glad that he actually likes it. It'll taste even more delicious once it's chilled. Will the madam like it? She will certainly enjoy it. I can already picture the blissful faces of Milady and Tara-sama. It would be great if that's the case. When should we serve these? They need to be chilled a bit more, so I don't think they'll make it for lunch. It'll be midday soon. And I'm planning to find an inn we can stay at for the evening later, so we'll be leaving the manor in the afternoon. Is that so? Understood. I'll need to confirm with Master, but is currently out on business at the moment. He should be returning soon though. Would you like to take this chance to go around town in the meantime? I understand. I returned to our room after we put in the rest of the pudding in the magic fridge. Beck and Thor were also back inside the room. Listen to this, Alan-san. They finished assessing the value of our goods, and they've actually quoted a price double that of the last time we came here. I see. That's great, huh? It looks like they really beat down the prices in your previous visits. Well, that's part of it, but according to Katol-san, the cotton we brought was of very high quality, so it'll fetch quite a bit once sold. Is that so? I'm happy for you guys. Yeah. This is also thanks to Alan-san. This wouldn't have happened if we didn't have Alan-san with us after all. It's not like I did something all that significant, guys. Well, you can say we were really lucky for getting acquainted with such great people. You better make sure to treasure this opportunity. Yeah. Someone knocked on the other side of our room's door. It's Jonas. We've prepared your lunch. We went to the dining room and found Teru-san, Katol, Cleria, and Elna already seated in front of the table. The three of us were then guided to our respective seats. I've heard about it from Jonas, Alan-san. It seems you've made us some wonderful sweets. It wasn't much, so I hope they'll be to your liking. I'm a bit nervous about it, to be honest. It just so happens that Lana and Tara were invited by the other madams in the neighborhood earlier, so they aren't here right now. I was thinking of serving them for dinner instead. I see. We are going to Buchanan today, so I guess I'll just have to hear about your impressions on another day. No, I insist that you all stay with us for tonight as well, Alan-san. That goes for Elna-san as well, of course. Eh? But wouldn't we be troubling you? Think nothing of it. I owe my life to Alan-san and the rest after all. I wouldn't mind no matter how many days you were to stay at our home. I understand. We'll stay for one more night then. Thank you very much for your hospitality. Teru-san really is a good person. It seems Beck and Thor were glad to hear we were staying for another night. The dishes we had for lunch today were delicious as always. I wonder why the variety of sweets hasn't progressed much, even though the level of cooking in this place was of quite a high level already. Oh yeah. I almost forgot to check out the variety of condiments and seasonings they have available. I definitely want to procure more seasonings apart from salt. Cleria called out to me just before we finished our meal. Alan, can you make time for me after this? I need to talk to you about some matters. All right, I understand. It looks like she was ready to talk to me about her circumstances. Beck and Thor went out for some shopping after we finished our meal. It seems they were tasked with purchasing goods necessary for the village, such as salt, after selling off their wares. In the end, I was the only one who would get to hear Cleria's story. Elna was also sitting inside the room. I'm very sorry for hiding things from you all this time, Alan. It's fine. You have a lot of things to consider, right? I've already introduced myself as Cleria Starvine, and I come from the neighboring Starvik kingdom. So she's from the Starvik kingdom, huh? Doesn't Cleria's surname sound a bit like the kingdom's name? From her expression, it seems Cleria was about to divulge something really important, but I still have no idea what it is. And? In other words, I'm the Starvik kingdom's *****. No, I suppose I should say was Starvik kingdom's *****. There's a word I can't understand. What does ***** mean? Cleria-sama, is this man really all right? Do not mind. Alan, no, Mr. Corinth wasn't even familiar with our language a month ago. It's not surprising that he still has some words he doesn't understand. This man is a ***. There's another word I'm not familiar with. I think quite a lot of people we met on our travels described Cleria with that word. And it seems I'm also a ***. And I'm kinda curious why Cleria's speech started sounding more formal. **** means the daughter of a king. The king's daughter, you say. In other words, she's a princess. I earlier deduced that Cleria was of a higher social class, in other words, a noble that I've only heard of in fantasy works, but it seems she was even higher up in the social ladder than I thought. I see. But what was a princess like you doing in that kind of place? It entails some complicated circumstances. Cleria began to tell the rest of her story afterward. She told me about the coup d'état that occurred in her kingdom. It seems she was dispatched outside the capital to perform a royal inspection when the coup occurred. She also told me that the rest of her family were all killed during the coup. She also divulged that she was planning on requesting aid from this country at the behest of one of her close relatives. She thinks that said close relative has most likely fallen in battle to aid in her escape. In order to mislead their pursuers, 8 carriages along with a number of escorts fled out of the country all at the same time, but in different directions. I see. So she ended up meeting me in the middle of their escape from the country, huh? It seems Elna was one of the escorts assigned to another carriage. It seems Cleria couldn't help but remember some things while relating her story and started tearing up. So that's the case. It must have been really hard for you. I can't imagine how painful it must feel to have your entire family murdered and your country taken from you. I started patting Cleria's head in order to comfort her. Cleria lowered her head and nodded lightly. She started crying in earnest. Mr. Corinth, it would be best if you refrain from touching Cleria-sama in such a familiar manner. Cleria raised her head and stopped herself from crying when she heard Elna. It's all right, Elna. Mr. Corinth, the ruler of the Belter Kingdom, is my relative as well. I was originally planning to request aid from this country's king. But after meeting Elna, it seems that isn't an option anymore. I asked for more details. According to Elna, she and the rest of the escorts were discouraged for a time when they found out that Cleria wasn't in the carriage they were guarding. But in order to aid in Cleria's escape, they resolved themselves to act their part as decoys to the best of their abilities, and proceeded towards Cecilio Kingdom as planned. After arriving at Cecilio Kingdom, they registered as adventurers in order to hide the fact that they were knights. They then tried to inquire about Cleria's whereabouts, but couldn't find any leads. They did manage to find 2 other escort groups assigned to other carriages, but they refrained from acting together to avoid standing out. Elna's group then headed towards Belter Kingdom in search of other potential leads. They managed to find out that Belter Kingdom's ruler was Cleria's relative, and proceeded to request for aid in their search from this country's nobles. Elna was tasked with going around the area on her own, just in case Cleria were to appear in the vicinity. The local noble assigned to the territory sent out an urgent message in order to request further orders from the king. But when the messenger returned, the rest of the escort knights apart from Elna ended up being captured and brought somewhere else. Elna surmised that they were probably taken back to the Starvik Kingdom. This all happened just 5 days ago. So that means this country's ruler is actually in league with the rebels. Maybe the rebels have offered something of value to them in return for their cooperation. You have truly suffered much for me, Elna. No, Your Highness. I do not mind going through any kind of hardship for your sake. If they learn of Cleariosama's safety, the others who were captured would surely be elated as well. I would like to rescue those knights who have been captured if possible, however. It has been 5 days after all. And the transport carriage was guarded by more than 30 knight escorts as well. It would be difficult to catch up to them even if we do know where their destination is. And it would be impossible for us to mount a rescue even if we do manage to catch up. I see. I no longer have a clear idea about what I should do next. What would you suggest, Mr. Corinth? I would appreciate it if you could lend us your wisdom. I ended up asking something that was bothering me since earlier, instead of replying immediately. Hey, Clearia, just why did you revert to that formal way of speaking? And I thought I told you not to call me Mr. Corinth, but Alan instead, right? But I'm a part of royalty. No, former royalty. And isn't Alan a ***? So I just thought that. Let's just clear things up here. I'm actually not a noble, you know. Judging from the earlier conversation, I surmised that the *** word actually means noble, or aristocrat. But don't you have a surname, Alan? Yeah. What about it? I don't understand what she's getting at. You have a surname, but aren't a noble. Yeah. In my country, all citizens have a surname. It's a common thing. And they aren't nobles as well. Are the only people who have surnames in this continent nobles? I actually knew of several human-inhabited planets in the Empire where surnames weren't a thing as well. But I didn't expect Clearia to think I was a noble just because I had a surname though. So there was such a thing. Yes, the only ones permitted to have surnames in this continent are members of the nobility. It looks like Clearia was fairly shocked by the fact that I wasn't actually a noble. Elna displayed a "I knew this was the case" expression though. Well then, let's get back to the topic of what your next actions should be. I think you'll have to focus on information gathering first. You won't be able to plot an appropriate course of action if you lack information about the current situation after all. Specifically, I think asking Teru-san for info would be a valid option. If possible, you'll have to tell him your identity as well, Clearia. I believe Teru-san would have at least 1 or 2 credible sources of information in the area, considering his line of business. I personally think Teru-san to be a person worthy of trust. Jonas-san told me during last night's banquet that the most important thing for a merchant was a credible source of information. It seems most merchants spend quite the hefty sums to obtain valuable info in order to gain a competitive edge and exploit movements in the market. Declare Cleariosama's identity, you say. It's obvious that we cannot do such a thing. What are we going to do if she gets into danger as a result? Well, if, by any chance, we do get into trouble, I'll just take Clearia and escape from here as fast as I can. The likes of you alone would guarantee her escape. Do not spout such crazy nonsense, fool. No, if Alan were to get serious, even the combined forces of the adventurers and knights in this city will stand no chance. That, I can be absolutely sure of. That can't be. Do you actually believe such a thing, Clarissama. I have full confidence in the fact. And Elna, I would also like for you to treat Alan with more respect. Understood. I apologize for my earlier conduct. I also think Teru-san should be worthy of trust. Alan, could I trouble you to accompany me to meet with Teru-san? Got it. The three of us went out of the room in order to look for Teru-san. The three of us entered the dining room, where we regularly had our meals, and found Jonas-san talking with the other employees. What seems to be the matter, Alan-san? I would like to request a meeting with Teru-san right now, if he isn't busy with work. I'll have Ria participate as well. I see. I shall check with Master, then. Jonas-san went back after a short while together with Teru-san. Let us discuss matters in the consultation room over there, Teru-san offered. The consultation room was a small room that can seat about 10 people inside. One of Teru-san's employees brought us some tea. Would it be fine for Jonas to join us in this discussion? I looked at Cleria to get confirmation. I do not mind. Cleria gave her okay. I do think Jonas-san was someone trustworthy as well. This may sound somewhat abrupt, but I have been using an alias while interacting with you all up until now. I must apologize for this matter first. My true name is Cleria Starvine. Teru-san and Jonas-san's expressions immediately changed to that of astonishment. Oh, man. To think even a butler living in another country is familiar with her. It seems Cleria's actually quite famous. Maybe he got to know about her from Teru-san. Why, Your Highness? There is no need to apologize for this matter. In lieu of Your Highness situation, I fully understand why you had to do so. Teru-san was visibly flustered. There is actually no need to address me as Your Highness, Mr. Teruz. You are not a citizen of the Starvik Kingdom in the first place, Mr. Teruz. And I no longer hold such a position of repute as well. Understood. Cleria-sama. What is it that you wish to discuss with me? I would like for you to share any sort of information you have about the current state of the Starvik Kingdom. I see. So it's about that. I was traveling out of the city until recently and am not that familiar with the entire situation, so I'll have Jonas tell you in my stead. What would you like to know first, Cleria-sama? If you have any information regarding the battle in the Ludwig territory, I'd like to hear about it first. First, I must apologize for the fact that the information I know may have been somewhat embellished due to it coming from the rumors circulating about among the merchants in the city. The information may not be entirely accurate, so I ask for your understanding. Jonas-san then took out a small memo pad from his suit's inside pocket and went over the contents. Regarding the battle in the Ludwig territory, the defending forces led by Earl Ludwig numbered 6,000 troops. On the other hand, it is said that the combined southern and western armies they faced numbered about 40,000. I do not know the exact particulars regarding the battle itself, but it seems that the Allied noble armies forced the Earl's troops to retreat into the castle in order to hold a battle of attrition. The Allied armies repeatedly asked for the Earl and his troops to surrender. The Earl, however, refused to capitulate. And after 2 weeks of grueling battle, the castle was finally taken. According to the villagers who witnessed the battle from afar, it seems like the Earl and his forces were intentionally dragging out matters in order to buy time for some reason. My uncle probably did so in order to earn time for me to successfully escape. Do you know what happened to the Earl in the end? It is said that the Earl fell in battle the moment the castle was breached. His corpse was recovered later on, so it is all but confirmed. So it really was the case. There is also this sort of rumor going around. There were several witness accounts regarding a number of the Earl's forces secretly leaving from the castle before they moved inside to invite a siege. I do not think any of my uncle's troops are cowardly enough to desert him in battle. He probably persuaded a number of them to escape willingly, knowing that they were about to fight a battle with no hope of victory. After the Earl's territory fell, most of the northern and eastern nobles surrendered one after another. And after 35 days, all nobles in the kingdom have capitulated to the rebels. And there was a new round of information we just received yesterday. 20 days ago, the southern Marquis, Lord Agostini, declared the founding of a new kingdom. Its name was revealed to be the Aloys Kingdom. Lord Agostini. The Lortrajan House. I have met him once before. Aloys Kingdom. So they restored their former kingdom's name. Thank you for the valuable information you shared with us, Mr. Toulouse and Mr. Jonas. I can do nothing about it for now, but I swear to repay this favor in the future. I do not dare accept your grace, Cleriosama. There is no need to owe us anything for this sort of information. I shall endeavor to collect even more useful information for you henceforth, Toulouse declared. Why would you go so far for us, Mr. Toulouse? It's no trouble at all. It's a merchant's habit to collect information after all. It comes with the occupation. I would just have to put a little more effort into it, that's all. My father was originally a merchant from the Starvik kingdom. But he fell in love at first sight with my mother and chose to stay in this city instead. So I consider myself half a citizen of Starvik. My father died 4 years ago, but I'd often heard how splendid the Starvik kingdom was from him when he was still alive. Perhaps he was just missing his former homeland. So it's only natural that I put forth my best effort to help the sole princess of the kingdom my father so loved. Mr. Toulouse. You have my utmost gratitude. However, there is something you need to be informed of, Mr. Toulouse. The ruler of this Belter kingdom, King Amodo, is actually my second cousin. I came to this country in order to solicit his aid. After that, Cleria talked about what happened to Elna's comrades. In other words, this country's ruler, King Amodo, is actually cooperating with the rebels, or rather, the newly founded Aloys Kingdom. If you lend me your aid, it means that you are going against your country's king as a consequence. I see. To put aside ties of blood in exchange for benefits is an action typical of a monarch. However, since there is no official order by the state for your capture, Cleriosama, I do not think we will have many problems. And I do not think the castle will put forth such an order in the first place as well. After all, if the king were to order his subjects to capture his own cousin to aid rebels, his own prestige as a monarch will be tarnished as a result. So you do not have to be so worried for us, Cleriosama. Understood. I thank you for your help once again. Well then, now that I've been told of this matter, I believe it would be best if I met with my fellow merchants in order to procure more new information for you, Toulouse offered. I am in your care. I, Cleria and Elna went back to our room in order to discuss our next plans more. Well, we did acquire some information, but it doesn't seem like they would lead to a viable course of action. Certainly. But gaining a trustworthy ally such as Taru-san in this country is a good start. It's all thanks to your suggestion, Alan. I didn't do anything big. It's actually thanks to Taru-san's character. So what do you plan on doing, for now, Cleria? I do not know. What is it that I should do? Ideally, I would very much like to regain my country. But what would justify me doing so? Should a member of royalty, whose reign allowed a rebellion to occur, be allowed to take back the country in the first place? For the kingdom's citizens, it may not matter much to them which family ultimately reigns over the country, whether it's the Starvines or the Lortrigens. That certainly cannot be the case. The Starvine royal family was adored by the people. A majority of the nobles subject to your reign also greatly respected you. There is something wrong with this rebellion. I cannot put my foot down on what exactly it is that I find off, but I do know something is horribly wrong with it. I am a royal guard in service to Cleria-sama. My loyalty shall forever be yours. Thank you, Elna. But the royal family only has me now, and the country has fallen. Wouldn't it be better for you to come back to your hometown? As you said, the Starvine royal family still has you, Cleria-sama. And I've already sworn to the goddess Raminas that I will always serve you and protect you from harm, even if it costs me my life. Oh, Elna. What have you done? I couldn't follow their conversation just now. Is there anything wrong with swearing to protect someone in God's name? It's probably a religious matter. I can't just carelessly ask for details, so I'd better refrain from it altogether. And I don't know how the two of them would react if I told them I wasn't familiar with Goddess Raminas. I see. I understand your determination. I am truly gladdened by your loyalty, Elna. I will never ask you to return to your hometown again. Let us get through this together. Yes, Cleria-sama. I kinda didn't get some of that, but it seems they've managed to resolve themselves anyway. Alan. I have just thought of a goal I truly wish to accomplish in all haste. What is it? There may be others who are still looking for my whereabouts even now, just like Elna. I wish to inform them of my whereabouts and help them to get home safely afterward. That really might be the case. It would be quite pitiful for them to continue searching aimlessly for you, in any case. But how exactly would we be able to find them? Elna, did you manage to hear about where the other two escort groups you encountered in the Cecilio Kingdom were heading to before you parted ways? Unfortunately, no. We just heard them saying they would expand the extent of their search a bit more. But we did tell them we were going to Belter Kingdom though. There's a possibility we would miss each other if we made a move on our own. Hey Elna, those guys have all disguised themselves as adventurers just like you, right? There's a good chance of them visiting the Adventurers Guild as well then. How about we try posting a notice through the guild? Alan. That's a great suggestion. Let's go with that. But it might alert our pursuers as well. I haven't encountered them in this country yet, but I've managed to brush past several suspicious adventurer parties while I was in the Cecilio Kingdom. I think they were most likely part of the rebels going after us. They've disguised themselves as adventurers as well. I see. So they thought of the same trick, huh? Well, it does make sense, given that you can't just send soldiers to a neighboring country without a clear justification. So it will be a challenge identifying real adventurers from those merely pretending to be one from now on. Both are quite possible, Elna. Don't you have some sort of code only the Royal Guards are familiar with, Elna? That might just work. Let's see. We often called Clearisama's room in the Royal Palace. What does that mean, exactly? It means the 12th room on the left wing of the 3rd floor of Building C. I see. So there's a good chance no one apart from the other Royal Guards would recognize this C3-12 code and connect it with Clearia. Splendid. But how should we phrase the message? How about the occupant of C3-12 is waiting for you all at Gatania City? We shall go with that, then. The three of us didn't have anything else we needed to do, so we immediately headed for the Adventurers Guild after our discussion. We found the same guild staff, who we met yesterday manning the counter, so we consulted with her again. We'd like to place a request. Is this the right counter for that? If it isn't Alan-san. So you're finally going to accept a guild quest. Thank you very much, the guild staff exclaimed. We're not here to accept a request. We're here to place one. Oh, is that so? Understood. So, what kind of request is it? Is it possible for us to get a certain message posted here, as well as in other guild branches? We want to get in touch with other adventurer friends we lost contact with, you see. Yes. We'll need the names of the adventurers in question, so receptionists in other branches can inform them once they show up. We actually don't know the names of the adventurers. You're friends with them, but don't know their names. We have some special circumstances, YC. If that's the case, we won't be able to accept that request. Don't you have something like a message board here? We can't. The only things posted in the guild board are quests. How about if we request something apart from the message itself? Well, that depends. How exactly would you phrase your request then? Thank you for considering. We'll think about the contents of the request and get back to you later. Anne, is it possible not to disclose the name of the requester? That would be fine. The three of us left the reception counter and moved near the quest board. Let's check the quests posted on the board to get some ideas. There were a variety of quests posted on the board. There are escort, monster extermination, and material collection quests among others. Let's just copy a suitable quest format. In urgent need of a Wyvern's magic stone. Quantity, 1. Please deliver it to the Gatania branch of the Adventurers Guild. Reward, 1 large silver coin. Deadline, half a year's time from today. A requester, the occupant of C3-12. How about this? A Wyvern's magic stone isn't just worth 1 large silver. It should be 10 gold at least. Ria-sama. I think it actually goes for 20 gold at the minimum. So it's worth that much, huh? Well then, I'll definitely have to hunt down a wyvern if we manage to encounter one. It looks like the skin and meat are also valuable too. All right then. We'll set the reward to 5 gold. It'll be troublesome if unrelated adventurers were to take the quest after all. We relayed the quest particulars to the guild staff. A. A wyvern's magic stone for 5 gold. And you even want it delivered to this branch in particular, the guild staff exclaimed. Is something wrong with it? Yes. The adventurers would probably just make fun of this, and the chances of it being taken up is honestly quite slim. The reward should at least be 10 gold coins. I see. Let's set the reward to 10 gold then. So which guild branches would you like your request to be posted? Let's see. We'd like it to be posted in all guild branches within the Belter and Cecilio kingdoms if possible. That many? That would be 21 branches in all, you know. Please post it in all of them. We'll need to charge an additional fee for posting requests to overseas branches. Are you all right with this? How much would it cost? That would be 1,000 guineas per branch. That much, huh? Should we request for a magic stone of lower value? But it would be meaningless if our request can be easily accomplished. Oh well. We can still afford that much anyway. Understood. Please go ahead with it. Are you really okay with this? Elna gasped in surprise. We also need a deposit equal to the reward indicated in the request. In case the quest isn't completed within the specified deadline, we'll refund this deposit to you. And if the quest is completed, the guild will take a 20% commission fee from the said deposit. Would these terms be fine with you? So they also need a deposit, huh? It can't be helped. That's fine. Well then, we'll need to take a total of 21,000 guineas for the request fee. I'm glad I brought all the money we had with me. But with this, the amount of money we got from the bandit hideout is reduced to about 70,000 guineas. When will our request be posted? We'll have them all posted by tomorrow. Huh? You mean you'll be able to post it to all the branches we indicated? Yes, that's right. How would you get in touch with the other branches? I cannot disclose the exact details, but we have artifacts that allow us to get in touch with other guild branches remotely. Whoa! I've heard about artifacts from Cleria before. They are supposed to be extremely rare, legendary magic tools. Would it be possible for me to take a look at that artifact? That won't be allowed, I'm afraid. The place where we have them set up is also top secret. I see. That's unfortunate. Please go ahead with our request then. Oh, that reminds me. There was a designated quest that came in for you earlier, Alan-san. It's from the Toulouse Company. These are the quest contents. Please confirm with the Toulouse Company if you want to accept the quest. Oh yeah. We actually talked about that this morning. Jonas-san sure works fast. I took the quest form from the guild staff and gave it a read. Cleria peeked at the contents from over my shoulder. The reward is 5 large silvers. It's a quest that can be accomplished in a day after all. Thank you for this. We'll pay them a visit later. We finally left the Adventurers Guild. We've used up quite a bit of money, Alan. I'm sorry about this. It's fine. Beck and Thor said they won't be taking a share of the money anyway, so all of this is my and Cleria's money. We're free to use it however we want. I see. Thank you, Alan. Let's buy you some new clothes then, Alan. We'll need to buy some for Elna as well. And I guess I'll buy some of my own too. Yeah, she's right. I only have one pair of local clothes available after all. I really need to buy some more. All right then. Let's go shopping. But I'm not familiar with the clothing stores in the city. We're near Zaluke's equipment shop anyway, so we'll just ask for directions there. We found Zaluke carrying the armor I purchased from the store when we entered. Sorry for barging in again, Zaluke. Are you familiar with any clothing shops nearby? Clothes, huh? I'd like to recommend one of our sister stores then. You'll find the Tara Boutique, after turning left around that corner over there. It looks like they also sell clothes. Teru-san's family really sells all kinds of goods, huh? Gotcha. Thanks. We found the store in question right away. It's another shop that wasn't too large, but was rather neat and orderly. We found 2 female shop clerks when we entered the store. Welcome, dear customers. What are you looking for? I'll choose Alan's clothes, all right. Cleria declared so right away, and started picking clothes for me. I still don't get this planet's fashion trends, so I'll just leave it to her. All right. I'll leave it to you then. 2 pairs would be fine. Understood. Please leave it to me. Afterward, it took Cleria more than 1 hour to choose suitable clothes for me. It was honestly draining. Mentally, that is. Cleria and Elna picked clothes for themselves next. We ended up spending more than 2 hours at the store. I got 2 pairs, Cleria got 1 pair for herself, and Elna got 2 pairs as well. They also bought various other items aside from clothes. Our total expenses were about 2,000 guineas. Clothes are actually quite expensive. Well, I guess it's fine. Cleria and Elna seemed to have enjoyed themselves anyway. We brought the items we bought back to Teru-san's manor afterward. We finally made it back to the manor, but Cleria wanted to ask me about the designated request I got earlier, so the 3 of us went back to the girls' room to discuss it. It isn't really a hard request. Jonas-san talked about it with me this morning. He asked me to guide them toward the bandit hideout in order to recover the rest of the goods they took from Teru-san when they abducted him. Only I and Teru-san am familiar with the location of the bandit hideout after all. You intend to accept the request? Of course. We've been in their care after all. And for a quest that can be finished in a day, 5 large silvers is a nice enough reward. It'll also depend on the people coming with us to recover the goods, but we'll probably depart tomorrow, or the day after. The modifications on your leather armor will only be finished after 3 days, right, Alan? It's not like I need it for the quest anyway. The area we're going to is nearby, and I haven't had any trouble even when I'm not wearing armor so far anyway. I see. I'll go with you then. And I'm coming as well, of course, Elna followed up. Nah, I'll be fine on my own, you know. And your armor's modifications are also going to be finished after 3 days too, right? I'm also indebted to Teru-san after all. And I probably won't face any danger with you and Elna by my side. All right, fine. The 3 of us will go, okay. And, Alan. I've been meaning to ask you for a while, but. So she's asking me now, huh? It's probably about where I come from anyway. Why do you go out of your way to help someone like me? Oops. So it's about that. My reason for helping haha. I haven't really thought about it much, to be honest. I just didn't want to leave a helpless young lady to die at first. After I rescued her from danger, I guess I treated her as a sort of troublesome little sister. I'm an only child, so I guess I've kinda always longed for a younger sister or brother since I was a kid. I don't have any particular reason when I decided to help you out, Cleria. I just did what any decent person would do, I think. I don't really understand myself, but I guess I kinda ended up treating you like a little sister I wanted to take care of along the way, Cleria. A little sister. Cleria gave an incredibly surprised reaction. Is it really something that weird? Well, I guess it would make a teenage girl like her feel a bit uncomfortable to be treated as a little sister by someone unrelated to her. But those are really my honest feelings. Elna, who was in the corner, was nodding in agreement for some reason. I see. Little sister. Cleria seemed somewhat depressed now. Well, it might sound a bit weird, but that's basically my reason for helping you out, Cleria. I see. I understand. I'm really thankful for all the help you've given me, Alan. Oh, come on. There's no need for that. You've also helped me out quite a bit as well, Cleria. What do you plan on doing after this, Alan? My plans, huh? Cleria probably thinks I came to this continent with some sort of goal in mind. But I honestly don't have a concrete goal right now. I don't have anything I particularly want to do. I had my hands full just trying to stay alive up until now after all. Cleria, aren't you curious about the place I come from? That's. It's true that I have always wanted to ask you. You've already realized this a while back, but it's true that I'm not someone from this continent. I came to this continent by ship, but that same ship sank along with all of my comrades. I was the only one who survived. I won't be able to go back to my home country without that ship. So, right now, I have no choice but to live in this continent. Because I've just arrived on this continent, I don't have any particular goal in mind. But perhaps my desire to learn more about magic can be counted as one. Won't you be able to go home to your country if you made a big and sturdy enough ship? No, that would be impossible. It's difficult to explain why exactly, but I probably won't be able to go back to my country. I see. So Alan isn't able to go home just like me. It's a little different in my case, but I guess that's one way to put it. Let us do this then. Alan will cooperate with me and I will also do all that I can to help you as well. But as for studying magic, aren't you already a very accomplished mage, Alan? I've certainly managed to learn some magic. But there are other spells and elements, right? There's wind magic, earth magic, and light magic. I'd like to learn them as well once I've managed to settle down somewhat. If it's wind magic, Elna here is the best wind mage among the knights. Oh, haven't properly introduced you and Elna to each other yet, right? Alan, this is Elna Norien. She's one of the royal guards assigned to serve me. No, make that formally. Elna, this gentleman is Alan Corinth. I owe him my life. I am called Elna Norien, Alan Dono. I serve as one of Cleriasama's royal guards. I am pleased to make your acquaintance. I took the opportunity to have a good look at Elna. She seems to be the same age as me at least. She was a tall and beautiful girl with fiery red hair. I'm Alan Corinth. Nice to meet you too. You have a surname, so I guess you're a noble, right? That is correct. I hail from the house of Viscount Norwegian. Are all of the royal guards nobles? Not all of us are, but we compose the majority. I see. So that's the case. So, Elna, I'd really appreciate it if you could demonstrate some wind magic spells for me sometime. Certainly. But I do not have a magic tome with me. Do you have one, Alan Dono? No, I don't. But it's enough to just show me some spells. Alan doesn't need magic tomes after all. Just what do you mean by that, Clearisama? Well, you'll find out soon enough. You would find it hard to believe even if I told you, as long as you haven't witnessed it for yourself. I see. There was a knock outside the room's door. It's Jonas. We have prepared your dinner. We went to the dining room and found Teru-san and family along with Beck and Thor already seated. Thank you very much for making some lovely sweets for us today, Alan-san. I have asked Jonas about them, but he remains tight-lipped, you see, the madam greeted. It's a type of sweet that's very popular in my country. It's easy to make and quite tasty as well. Ma, I'm really looking forward to it. Tara-chan chimed in. The dishes served were as plentiful and delicious as always. Well then, it's finally time for dessert. Would you like me to help with serving them, Jonas-san? There's a bit of a knack in order to get the pudding out of the porcelain containers after all. There's no need, so I have already made the arrangements. It looks like they've begun serving the pudding already. As expected of Jonas-san. All of us have been served pudding before long. This is a type of sweet? Tara-chan inquired. Yes. It's a sweet called pudding. Please scoop out a part of it along with the brown syrup on top and give it a taste. I scooped out a portion off of mine first to show them. Tasty. It really tastes more like pudding once it's properly chilled. Sea cold. This is dash. Whoa. What is this? It's amazingly delicious. It looks like they all liked it. I made large enough portions, so I believe they'd be quite satisfied. Impressive, Alan. It's my first time to taste such a delicious sweet. Clearia, who already managed to finish her own portion, gave a rave review. I see. I'm glad you liked it then. Alan-san. It's an amazing sweet. It's also my first time to taste such a wonderful sweet. That's a relief. It looks like the madam has also taken a liking to it. Is this sweet truly that simple to make? The madam inquired. Yes, it is. Once you learn the knack for it, it's really easy to make. Isn't that right, Jonas-san? Yes. I've observed Alan-san's cooking process earlier. It was truly a cooking method I haven't seen before, but it's surprisingly easy to follow. This sweet is truly magnificent, Alan-san. I'm also greatly satisfied. If it's all right with you, could we purchase the recipe for it? Teru-san requested. Teru-san has his merchant face on. It's just the recipe for pudding, you know. No, you don't really have to purchase it. I'll give it to you as thanks for all you've done for us. That just won't do. There would be a lot of merchants in this city who would pay quite a sum for this sort of never-before-seen recipe. I would like for it to be one of the signature dishes in one of our family's stores. I would easily earn back the money with this sweet, so please do allow me to purchase it from you. That's amazing. So they even have a restaurant. I guess I won't be able to refuse after he's said all that. I understand. I'll give you the complete recipe by tomorrow. It would be better if I gave a demonstration to the chefs as well. They'd learn the correct method of making it faster that way. That would be most wonderful. I would be able to eat this every day. Tara-chan exclaimed in excitement. Whoa there. Don't you think you'll get tired of it if you eat pudding every day? I'm now utterly curious if Alan-san knows other recipes apart from this as well, the madam followed up. Well, I do have a lot of recipes. I've bought the Earth Cuisine Ultimate Compendium. That was released just 2 years before after all. I even resorted to a credit loan in order to purchase the thing. That reminds me, how am I going to pay for that loan now anyway? Oh well. It has all of Earth's major cuisines on it, so I don't regret buying it at all. I uploaded the whole thing to my Nanam's database and already indicated all the recipes I'm fond of. There's a lot of recipes. But the problem's the ingredients. I'd need to at least check out all the available ingredients and condiments and make comparisons in order to use some of those recipes. We have a lot of different ingredients and seasonings in my home country that may not be available here. If I can't manage to find an equivalent at least, the number of recipes we can make would be somewhat limited. I'll try to think of a few we can make with what we have now and show them to you later. I'm truly looking forward to them. Now that I think about it, none of the others here actually asked about where I'm from. Maybe it was Teru-san who told them not to pry too much. The dinner ended on a high note. I asked Jonas-san about the request, and he told me the personnel and carriages that would be used for the recovery of the goods will be ready the day after tomorrow. We would depart early in the morning. 2. When we got back to our room, Beck and Thor told me about what they did during the day. It looks like they've already managed to purchase most of the goods the village needed. They'll buy the rest tomorrow and would depart back to the village in the afternoon at the latest. They've also managed to arrange for some adventurers to serve as their escorts. Since they had money to spare, the negotiations went smoothly, it seems. The party they managed to get was apparently composed of veteran adventurers, and was fairly accomplished. A party is apparently a group composed of several adventurers. It seems you need to form a party to undertake most quests. It looks like we need to form a party ourselves. That reminds me. We're supposed to receive the reward for capturing the bandits tomorrow, right? How about we all claim our rewards tomorrow morning? I'm guessing you'd also want some extra money to buy some souvenirs, right? That'll be great. Let's do that. A little while later, the three of us entered the bath. Since we were all tired from the activities today, we all fell asleep pretty quickly after having a bath. It's already morning, huh? I have a lot of stuff I need to take care of today as well. I just gotta do my best. Beck and Thor are still enjoying their time in Dreamland. Sorry guys, but it's time to wake up. Hey, Beck. Thor. Time to get up, you two. Let's go take a morning bath. You guys have to savor the opportunity. You two won't be able to take one on a large bathroom for a while once you're back in the village, right? Yeah. You're right. More like, we only experienced taking a bath submerged in water when we came here. We always only used towels and buckets back home. The three of us went to bathe and tried our best to savor the experience. We may have overdone it a little though. It was already time for breakfast when the three of us finished bathing. But since it was still relatively early, the only ones in the dining room are the three of us boys plus Cleria and Elna. What are your plans for today, Alan? Cleria asked. Well, there's quite a few actually. First is claiming the rewards for the bandits we caught. Next is handing over the recipe for pudding and demonstrating it to the cooks. I also have to look for an inn we'll be staying at starting tonight. And I also plan to buy new ingredients and seasonings as well. If there's time, I'll also head to the Adventurers Guild to formally register our party. I'll come along with you then. You really don't have to though. I can do those stuff without you, Cleria. Beck, Thor. And I already planned to get the bounty rewards for the bandits together anyway. Oh, but I insist. I will be coming along. Is that so? I was thinking you could use this chance to rest up a bit though. Oh right. I almost forgot. Here's the money I took from the carriage when I first met you, Cleria. I took out the money I managed to retrieve from the overturned carriage Cleria, and her guards rode in from my pocket, and offered them to her. It's 50,550 guineas all in all. It's all right. Just keep them with you, Alan. Nah, it's not my money anyway. And you can use them if you ever find something you want to buy. And I'm telling you it's all right for you to look after the money, Alan. Elna. Can I hand the money over to you then? This is all Cleria's money. Please use them to buy some daily necessities for the two of you. Understood. I shall look after the money for you. Jonas-san came to the dining room at this time. I asked him when would it be fine to conduct a cooking lecture with the Manners cooks. He told me that the cooks were free right now, so we could organize right away. I replied that I wanted to get over with claiming the bounty rewards for the bandits first. He unreservedly offered to take us all the way to the city guard garrison via carriage. When we arrived at the garrison, we again saw the guard captain we met last time, when we entered the city gates. Oh, so it's you all. We have the rewards prepared already. And there's some good news for you all as well. The bandit leader has quite the generous bounty placed on his head. 3 gold coins. Please confirm the reward amount and sign here, you 3. I checked the contents of the documents and found that each bandit was worth 5,000 guineas each. There were 15 of them, so the total rewards are 75,000 guineas. There was also an additional bounty reward of 30,000 guineas. So our total earnings amount to 105,000 guineas. It was quite a lot of money. I have absolutely nothing to complain about. I and Cleria also returned the wooden tags that served as our temporary passes, and got the silvers we deposited back in exchange. Wow! To think that bearded uncle and his gang was worth this much. It might be possible for me to make a living off hunting bandits. We unexpectedly made quite a lot. It's 105,000 guineas, you guys. Dividing it by 4, we'll have 26,250 guineas each. 26,250 guineas. Beck and Thor made a ruckus as usual. The reward money we got from the garrison office was only in gold and large silver coins. I used the coins I already had so I could make up the appropriate amounts, and gave the two eager beavers their shares. Make sure you don't accidentally lose the money, you two. That's a lot of cash. We got it. What about your share, Cleria? Do you want me to hand them over now? You can look after the money in my stead, Alan. All right. But tell me if you ever need to buy something, okay? Beck and Thor told us they needed to finish shopping for the rest of the goods they missed yesterday, and went off on their own. Cleria and I went back to Taru-san's mansion. I asked Jonas-san for a writing tool and some paper, so I can jot down the recipe for pudding. I asked for Cleria and Elna's help whenever I encountered a snag due to being unfamiliar with the written language. I then had the Manners cooks read the recipe first. They then dragged me to the kitchen to do a live demo. The cooks tried to make puddings according to the recipe I handed out, and I was tasked to supervise them. As expected of Taru-san's hand-picked cooks. All of them had great cooking skills, and were able to pick it up fairly quickly. With this, I'm sure they'll be fine even without my help from now on. I managed to successfully complete this request. When I went back to our room, I found that Beck and Thor were already back from shopping. They were already packing their stuff and preparing for departure, so I decided to help out with bringing their luggage to their carriage. Oh, that reminds me. What are we going to do with the weapons we swiped from those bandits? Beck suddenly asked. Oh, right. We left their carriage stuffed full of weapons like swords, spears, and bows. We nearly forgot about them. We'll just leave them to you two. Is that okay with you, Cleria? Of course. I don't mind at all. But they'll be worth a lot if you sell them. It's fine. Wasn't the spear you had with you when we met you and your father outside the village gate quite shabby looking, Beck? Why don't you just bring these all back to the village as part of your supplies? I see. That's right, huh? We'll do that then. Alan-san, master. Thank you so much for all your help. Don't sweat it. It's nothing, really. The carriage ended up being filled to the brim when we finished loading all the goods and luggage. It was a good deal more than when we first set off from the village. We then accompanied them to meet up with the adventurer party they hired in front of the guild building. The adventurers we met at the guild were comprised of 5 men, who each looked quite skilled. These are the members of the party. They will guard you during your trip. I see. So this is an example of a good party, huh? Am I the only one who's feeling a bit awkward here after seeing these guys? Yeah, it looks that way. All the members of the party sported broad axes as their main weapon of choice. I see. Beck and Thor are our friends. We're counting on you guys to escort them safely back to the village. I addressed the one who looked like the party leader. Just leave it, Taras. We've traveled to Tala's village quite a number of times already. We'll send them back safely. That I guarantee. Alan-san, master. These are just small tokens of thanks from us. They're nothing much, but we'll appreciate it if you accept them. Beck and Thor handed some things over to me and Cleria. Mine was a set of 3 knives with leather sheaths. Judging from their looks, they were probably a set of throwing knives. They also looked quite cool. Cleria's was a delicate-looking white comb. It had a mysterious luster to it. Is it fine? All right. We gratefully accept your feelings of gratitude. You didn't really need to, though. I'm thankful for the gift as well. It's the first time I've received such a heartwarming present. Alan-san and Master are our village's benefactors. You slew black speckles, offered the village its meat, escorted the two of us, protected us from bandits, shared the reward money with us, and even helped us out with our business in the city. We'll never forget this favor for the rest of our lives. Oh, come on, guys. You're exaggerating it too much. We just went with the flow anyway. The two of you did your best as well. We didn't really do much. But we'll continue practicing swordplay, so we can at least catch up with Alan-san and Master a little. We'll do our best. I see. Then I'll have to test your skills when we get the opportunity to meet again one day, Cleria declared. Please do visit the village again, if you're ever in the area, Alan-san. Master. It's a promise. Got it. We promise. CYA guys. Let's meet again someday. Farewell, Beck and Thor. Beck and Thor made their departure soon after. We sent them off until their carriage was out of our sights. 2. Well, since we're already near the Adventurers Guild, why don't we go ahead and register our party? Have you already registered as an adventurer, Elna? I have. I'm C rank. I see. Great. I and Cleria are also the same ranks, so that's perfect. Ryasama is C rank as well. Yeah. We just registered yesterday, and they told us we were C rank. More importantly, Alan, what are we going to call our party? Well, I don't really mind as long as it doesn't sound weird. I'll leave it to you guys. We definitely cannot use a strange-sounding party name. It looks like we have to decide on it after careful deliberation, Elna. Afterward, Cleria and Elna immersed themselves in thinking up a good name in a corner of the guild. They were already at it for more than 10 minutes. How about Shining Star? Elna suggested. I see. Shining Star, is it? It certainly does sound nice. I didn't really get what's so good about it, so I asked Elna. She replied to me in a whisper. It seems Cleria's surname actually means Shining Star. I do think it sounded a bit embarrassing, but it did seem better than any of the other names the two of them came up with. Well, Shining Star it is, then. So it's decided. We went to the counter and found the guild staff we met yesterday, so we proceeded with registering our party. It looks like there wasn't any other party using Shining Star as their name, so we successfully registered. And it looks like they didn't charge a fee this time. Well then, I'll proceed to register Alan-san, Ria-san and Elna-san's party under the name Shining Star. Who will be assigned as the leader? Wouldn't it be fine for you to be the leader, Ria? The party's called Shining Star anyway. I also support Ria-sama being the leader. I think you should be the leader, Alan. The leader should be the strongest one among the party members. And I also do not want to stand out too much as well. Well, she does have a point. It looks like Elna was fine with it in the end. All right then. Please set me as the party leader. Oh, and about that designated quest. I decided to accept it, but do I need to fill out some paperwork for that? You just need to sign this form here, and you're good to go. Gotcha. Thank you very much. 2. We finished our business in the guild and started walking back to the manor. By the way, the armor you're wearing doesn't seem too good, Elna. Whatever happened to your old one? I sold it while I was in Cecilio Kingdom to gain some funds for my activities, since the Royal Guard armor stands out too much. I'm sorry, Ryusama. I ended up losing the armor entrusted to me by the country. I do not mind the armor. I see. It did not occur to me at all. We should procure a better armor set for you then. Will that be fine, Alan? I was just about to suggest that as well. We're near Zaluke's shop anyway. We entered the shop and called out to Zaluke. Yo, Zaluke. We came to visit again. I still haven't finished working on your armors. Do you have any other business for me? Yeah. It's for this lady, Elna, here. Oh yeah. What do you prefer, Elna? Do you want leather armor, or do you like metal armor instead? Well, I'm used to wearing metal armor, but I'm also fine using this leather armor, so you don't really have to purchase anything new for me, really. Don't say that. We need to make sure every party member's equipment is of good quality. It's also a way to ensure the entire party's safety. So don't hold back, all right? Quite so. Do not hold yourself back on our accounts, Cleria followed up. Do you have any metal armors you can recommend, Zaluke? Let's see. We have several types, but, considering her size, this one should be more fitting. He pointed towards one of the armors placed in the metal armor section of the shop. This is made out of a newly discovered alloy. Its durability is comparable to steel armor, but is fairly light in weight. Mithril is still leagues better, however. He took the armor off the display so we can inspect it. It certainly did feel quite light compared to the other armors on display. Elna also checked it out. It does feel lighter compared to the armor I'd used before, Elna declared. How much is this? I was shown the price tag and found that it costs 55,000 guineas. So it was more expensive than the armor I bought her. I shall also give you a 20% discount for this armor, so it will be 44,000 guineas then. But honestly, there's a problem with this armor's size measurements, because it's a bit on the smaller side. None of my regulars could equip it, so it was just taking up space in the store up until now. The discount is for that. Do you like it, Elna? I certainly do not have any problems with it, Elna replied. Yosh. We'll buy this then. This thing's made for adventurers, right? You can tell from its looks, can't you? Of course, it's made for adventurers. Nah, I honestly can't tell, buddy. I took out 4 gold and 4 large silver coins from my bag and paid the bill. How long do you need to adjust this one? Well, it normally takes 3 days, but you guys are already my regulars. I'll finish adjusting it within 2 days. You can pick up all 3 armors by then. That'll really help. We'll leave it to you then. We left the shop after Elna had her measurements done. Alan, let me pay you back with my money for the armor purchase earlier. It's fine. This concerns our entire party anyway. We should pay for the party's expenses with the party's money. Elna's also one of our comrades. Don't say something so distant, all right? I understand. Thank you. Oh, that reminds me. There's an expensive-looking jeweled knife among the goods we recovered back from the bandits. I was thinking of selling it for cash, but what do the two of you think? I don't know how much it'll sell for, but we'll need all the money we can get our hands on right now. You can go ahead and sell it then. Great. I'll speak with Teru-san about it later. We managed to catch Teru-san and Jonas-san discussing with each other when we arrived back at the manor. Alan-san. Thank you very much for sharing the pudding recipe. My chefs told me your cooking instructions were very easy to follow. No, that's only natural given that I was paid for sharing it. By the way, Teru-san, I was wondering if I can sell you an item I have. Can you take a look at it? I took out the jeweled knife from my bag. One of the items from the bandit lair, is it? I see. I shall appraise it then. We went to Teru-san's office so he could take a better look. Teru-san used an item resembling a magnifying glass and inspected the item thoroughly. Jonas-san went to inspect it as well after Teru-san. It's quite the exquisite item. It's certainly a rare find, but it's a pity that the jewels used are on the smaller side. Jonas-san gave his verdict. He and Teru-san proceeded to use gestures to discuss with one another. They are probably deciding the price. Alan-san, we can purchase this dagger for 80,000 guineas, Teru-san announced. Whoa! That's quite the price. Thank you very much. If you please. Jonas-san quickly handed me 80,000 guineas worth of silver coins. And about the recipe, Alan-san, are you agreeable to the payment being 5,000 guineas? 5,000 guineas for a pudding recipe sounds fair enough for me. Yes, that'll do nicely. I can't thank you enough. Great. We've completed this task as well. The only thing left to do now is searching for an inn. Can you recommend to us a good inn to stay at, Teru-san? He isn't going to recommend another one of their establishments, right? I presume you'd want one with a bath, right? If that's the case, then the inn should do nicely. It's 5 silvers to stay a night there. That also includes 2 meals as well. It has quite a good reputation among the inns of higher quality. The food, bath facilities, and overall service has garnered good reviews. Oh, so it looks like it really isn't one of theirs this time. I feel kind of relieved. Getting 2 meals included in the package certainly sounds good. Thank you for your help. We'll check the place out later. Also, I want to stock up on new ingredients and seasonings. Where's your general store located, Teru-san? I'll have Willie guide you there. I've already informed the store employees as well. Are you heading to the inn after this? Yes, we are. We don't want to impose on you for too long, so we'll head for the inn now. I see. It'll get lonely without you all here. So, Alan-san, let us talk about the reward for my rescue from the hands of those bandits. No, there's no need for any further rewards, really. It was only natural for me to help you back then. And we've received plenty of help from you as well. Let's just call it even, shall we? All right. I understand. It can't be helped if you say so. But please take those clothes you're wearing with you as thanks at least. Come to think of it, the clothes we're wearing were borrowed from Teru-san as well. Okay. Thank you very much for your generosity. As we packed our luggage and got ready to leave, Teru-san, his family and employees came out to see us off. We've been in your care. We're really grateful for the warm hospitality you've granted us, everyone. We will visit you again if given the opportunity. Please do. Let us have some warm tea and share stories when you next visit. We'll gladly welcome you, Teru-san replied. Please share some sweets with us again next time, his wife followed up. Alan-san. I shall be waiting for you in front of the Adventurers Guild tomorrow then, Jonas-san reminded. Understood. Well then, everyone. Farewell. We left Teru-san's manor accompanied by Willie,